and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we continue to prepare for our test tomorrow, don't say we have a test. I sent an email. I've been announcing it. It's on the board. Oh. Kids make me insane.
Okay, we get it.
So, one of the skills I've noticed that we struggle with more than the others is rounding. Now, those of you that were here for tutorials yesterday, we did work on rounding, so you should be particularly good at it since you came to tutorials on Wednesday. We're going to practice first rounding to the nearest whole number. I'm going to talk through these because I really want you to understand how to do it. I probably will call on people using this app I have called Team Shake.
Nice.
I paid $1.99 for it. I want to get my money's worth.
We all did.
Oh, let's say
1,000 plus 1,000 equals 2,000.
all right, so we have these two numbers. We have 13 and 985 thousandths. We have 19 and 121 thousandths. We're going to round them to the nearest whole number. Riley, when you're rounding to the nearest whole number, that's basically doing what? Rounding to the nearest ones place. So Riley, what is in the ones place in the number 13 and 985 thousandths? 3. Riley, what is in the one place in 19 and 121 thousandths? The 9. Now, if I'm doing a whole section where it says round to the nearest tenth, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 28 problems like that, I'm just going to go through and underline where I'm rounding to, because this is the number in the ones place. So I'm either going to add 1 to, or I'm going to leave it as it is. So Micah, in the number 13 and 985 thousandths, am I going to add 1 to the ones place, or am I going to leave it the same? I'm going to add 1. Why am I adding 1?
Because the tens place is bigger than 5.
Good, because the tenths place is, remember, if it's 5 or greater, then we add the 1 to our whole number. So then my answer is 14. What I see, some of the errors I see is then bringing down the 9, the 8, and the 5. No, everything behind it then becomes zeros. I don't need the zeros after the decimal point, so I can just make it 14. You may see it say 14, 14 and 0 tenths, 14 and 0 hundredths, 14 and 0 thousandths. You may see that, but I doubt it. Who would put that? That's cray-cray. Now I have 19 and 121 thousandths. Aiden, am I going to add 1 to the 9, or am I going to leave the 9 the same?
Leave the 9 the same.
Why? Because of the wonderful things he does.
Wow.
Because the number behind it is 1.
Yeah.
So it is 4 or less. If the number is 4 or less behind it, you leave it the same. So my answer here would just be 19. Probably see it written like that. If you follow the steps and show the work, you're going to do much, much better than if you don't. Now we're going to round to the nearest tenth. We'll do, let's see, 981 thousandths. We'll do 16,943 thousandths. Now we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So let's identify what's in the tenths place. Dax. In the number 18 and 981 thousandths, what is in the tenths place?
9.
The 9. And in the number 16 and 843 thousandths, what's in the tenths place? 8. Once I identify the place I'm rounding to, I am either going to add 1 to that number, or I'm going to leave it the same. Behind it is going to become zeros. Seth, am I going to add 1 to the tenths place here, or am I going to leave it the same?
Add 1.
Add 1. Why?
Because rounding it up would Because it's over 5.
Good. The number behind it is 5 or greater. That means I add 1 to the place I'm rounding. 9 plus 1 is 10. I have to regroup. So actually this rounds to the nearest tenth. It rounds to 19. The nearest tenth, it rounds to 19. Now we have 16 and 843 thousandths. Destiny. Am I going to add 1 to the 8 or leave it the same?
You're going to leave it the same.
Leave it the same. So this comes 16 and 8 tenths. 16 and 8 tenths. It's not difficult rounding. It's not difficult. Identify the place you're rounding to. Look behind it. Everything behind what you're rounding to then becomes zeros. Let's do hundredths.
Whoa.
I know you're excited.
Yay.
We are
Hopefully your name comes up on this.
Yay.
We have 1 and 384 thousandths, 1 and 385 thousandths. Maddie, in 1 and 384 thousandths, what number is in the hundredths place? 8. Maddie, in the number 1 and 385 thousandths, what number is in the hundredths place? 8. Now I know what I'm either going to add 1 or I'm going to leave it. Oh, he's not here. Connor, in the number 1 and 384 thousandths, am I going to add 1 to the hundredths place or leave it the same?
Do the same.
Leave it the same. So then my answer becomes 1 and 38 hundredths. Do not mess with that 4. Behind whatever you underline becomes zeros. If they're way behind the decimal point, they probably just go away. Emma, I look behind my 8, I have a 5. Am I going to add 1 to the hundredths place, or am I going to leave it the same? Add 1. Why?
Because it's 5.
Because it's 5. And we know if it's 5 or greater, we add 1 more. Questions? Destiny?
So will there ever be like a time where there's more than the thousands?
No, we're not this year.
Next year.
Not this year. We only go out to the thousandths place this year. So all you have to know this year is round to the whole number, round to the tenths, or round to the hundredths. Boom, shock, luck, peace out, God bless, love you, do something. Please subscribe.